The basement is good enough for you, my mother smirked at my brother's wedding. So I left, and cancelled the $300,000 I've been secretly paying for their dream home. The next morning, their world crumbled. I never thought I'd be spending my brother's wedding day in a basement, surrounded by old boxes and the faint smell of mildew. But there I was, dressed in an expensive burgundy gown that cost more than 3 months' rent, perched on a folding chair beside the water heater. The basement is good enough for you, my mother had smirked, adjusting her designer dress. We need the main floor seats for important guests. Important guests. That's what they called my brother Michael's new in-laws, the prestigious Williams family, with their old money and social connections. Can't have the family disappointment, ruining their perfect wedding photos. What my family didn't know was that I've been secretly paying the mortgage on their dream house, this very house, for the past 3 years. $8,500 every month, transferred quietly, from an offshore account they knew nothing about. Without my money, they would have lost this place years ago. But let me start from the beginning. 5 years ago, I was just another corporate lawyer, grinding away at a prestigious firm, living the life my parents had mapped out for me. Then came the cryptocurrency boom. While everyone else was buying Bitcoin, I spotted the potential in lesser-known alternatives. I invested everything I had, including my law school loans. My parents called me irresponsible, reckless. Throwing away a perfectly good career for internet money, my father had scoffed. Michael, the perfect son with his safe banking job, nodded in agreement. Then the market exploded. My initial investment multiplied by 4,000% overnight. I had more money than I knew what to do with. But I kept quiet about it, continued living modestly, and watched my wealth grow through strategic investments. That same year, my parents faced foreclosure on their dream house, a sprawling Victorian mansion they bought at the height of the market. My father's business had taken a hit during the recession, and they couldn't keep up with the payments. I could have told them about my success, could have openly offered to help. But I knew they would never accept money from their irresponsible daughter. So instead, I created a shell company and bought their mortgage from the bank. Every month, I made the payments. They thought they were negotiating with a faceless corporation. At least Michael is making something of himself, my mother would say at family dinners while I sat there silently, paying for the roof over their heads. And now here I was at my brother's wedding, banished to the basement because I didn't fit their image of success. Through the ceiling, I could hear the celebration in full swing. Champagne corks popping, crystal glasses clinking, fake laughter at unfunny jokes. My phone buzzed, another cryptocurrency alert. One of my investments had just doubled in value. I was now worth north of $50 million. But to my family, I was still the failure who wasted her law degree. The basement door opened, and my mother's heels clicked on the stairs. "We're taking family photos," she announced, not quite looking at me. "But don't worry about coming up. We wouldn't want to complicate things. Complicate things. Code for. We don't want the Williams family to know about our embarrassment of a daughter." I took a deep breath, fingering the phone in my pocket. One call to my banker would expose everything. One transfer would stop the mortgage payments that kept their perfect facade intact. "You know what, Mom," I said, standing up and smoothing my expensive dress. "I think I'll leave early, wouldn't want to complicate your perfect day." She looked relieved. "Yes, that's probably best. Michael understands. Michael understands." Michael always understood when they pushed me aside, just like he would understand when they lost this house. I climbed the stairs, passing my mother without another word. In the main hall, the celebration was in full swing. Michael stood with his new wife, Emma Williams, both of them gleaming with prosperity and privilege. Her father, a banking executive, was regaling guests with stories about his latest yacht purchase. My father caught my eye as I headed for the door. For a moment, something like guilt flashed across his face. But then Michael's new mother-in-law said something, and he turned away, drawn back into their world of artificial perfection. Standing in the driveway, I looked up at the house I had saved. The house they had unknowingly lived in because of me. The grand Victorian architecture. The manicured gardens. The imported marble fountains. All maintained by my secret payments. I pulled out my phone and dialed my banker. "Ms. Harrison," he answered immediately. "How can I help you?" "The Morton Valley Property Management account," I said, watching the party through the windows. "I want to stop all payments. Immediately." "The mortgage payments for the property on Maple Grove Drive." "Yes, no more payments, and I want you to send a notice to the holders of the mortgage first thing tomorrow morning. Of course, should I include your name in the correspondence? I thought about my mother's smirk. About being hidden in the basement. About years of being treated like a family embarrassment. No, I replied, let them find out when the bank calls. After hanging up, I stood there a moment longer, watching the shadows dance across the windows of their perfect house. Tomorrow morning, their world would come crashing down. Tomorrow, they would learn that their safety net wasn't a generous bank or my father's business acumen. It was me, the daughter they hid in the basement. I slipped into my car, not the modest Honda I drove to family events, but my real car, a Bentley I kept hidden in a private garage. As I pulled away from the house, I caught one last glimpse in the rearview mirror. They were all gathered at the window, champagne glasses raised, celebrating their perfect family moment. By this time tomorrow, everything would change. The next morning, I sat in my real office, not the small law practice they thought I ran, but the top floor of a gleaming downtown tower. My cryptocurrency empire had expanded into a full-scale investment firm. The woman they considered a failure managed billions in assets for clients around the world. I waited for the call I knew was coming. At exactly 9:15 a.m., my private line rang. It was my father. His voice trembled on the line. Sarah, something's wrong. The bank, they're saying our mortgage payments have stopped. They're threatening foreclosure. I leaned back in my leather chair, looking out over the city skyline. Now you can watch the second part by pressing share and more.